maybe we should talk a little bit about the internet and how we got here. So Web 1.0 was the original dial-up modem making a funky noise and people using AOL disks to get their machine online painfully slow and download images one scan line at a time, never knowing what you were going to get. A little bit of roulette, but mostly that was the beginning of hypertext. So links and links linking you to other pages, which had other pages of mostly text, mostly information, very low-end graphics, very primitive. Kind of like an easy-to-use bulletin board system, which is exactly what the internet was. So as we transitioned through that and it became more and more complex with faster CPUs, faster memory, better machines, better connectivity, not necessarily a faster internet, but everything else was getting quicker and eventually the pipeline was going to expand. Which leads us into Web 2.0, which came about due to the advent of e-commerce and systems actually doing transactions over the internet. So Amazon started out as a second-hand bookseller. It was just a guy in San Francisco with a load of second-hand books, putting them in the post, sending them to people. And people would put in their credit card details and buy these books from him at a hugely reduced rate for what they were going for at full retail price. Who knew? Who knew that that's what would become the monster that is Amazon today, where you can buy anything and everything, anywhere, at any time, across the planet. And in the early days, people were like, I'm not putting my credit card on the internet, it's dangerous, it's not safe. However, now everybody puts their credit card on the internet, otherwise you can't get anything. So, travel agencies changed overnight. You could book your flight directly with the airline, buy your seat, buy your ticket, change your seat, do whatever you want. You didn't need a travel agent anymore, you didn't need to pay them, you could do it yourself. So that was the evolution of Web 2.0. Then we start to add high speed, then we start to add video, then we start to add photos, then we start to add more and more content. It became a content-rich environment. So not only did you have commerce, activity, a change in business practices, you also had entertainment. You had the ability to stream. You could stream video. It blew everybody away, right? Something like Netflix started out distributing DVDs by post. Became the world's biggest online streamer because they had a ton of content and people wanted to stream it, and you didn't have to wait for a DVD, you didn't have to post anything. You could just put it straight on your machine and watch it. So the evolution of Web 2.0 went vertical and horizontal and started to encompass everything till it got to the point where all our phones are connected to the internet, all our computers are connected to the internet, most of our home devices are connected to the internet, our cars are connected to the internet, everything is connected. And the voracious appetite to keep connecting everything just continues, to the point where if your internet signal is taken away, you feel like you've lost a limb for a little while. It's very disturbing. So Web 2.0 became all-pervasive, all-encompassing, everywhere, all the time. And with the high-speed internet signals that we have via cable and now via 5G signal, which is high-speed internet everywhere on the planet at all times, constantly. It's never ending. We even have the internet via satellite links now. So there is a time where the signal is on everywhere, all the time. And so now we come to the next generation of the internet, which is Web 3.0. Web 3.0 is a catch-all term for the next generation of the internet and what that will be and what that will look like. It has connectivity on all the time, high speed, interconnected, relational systems that work in harmony with each other in a very complex and specialized but compatible array of facilities for people to use. And so maybe we should cover some of the individual components of Web 3.0. So the core underpinning one that everybody talks about, but not many people seem to understand, is the blockchain. Blockchain is a huge relational database of proven data containers that not only allow you to make an entry to that database, but also to receive a copy of the register of that database. So Everybody's a user, everybody's an owner. The transparency and the equalization of the whole thing is quite remarkable. It's a very wonderful way to allow everybody to see everything that's going on at all times, which then leads you to decentralization, which is another thing that governments and large corporates tend to fear. But for the people and for general usage, it's a great equalizer. Centralizing information, data, allows it to be controlled, which allows you to be controlled, which allows your information and your money and everything that you do to be controlled. Decentralization equalizes everything. It allows everybody to have access to everything at a different rate, at different times, depending on what they want to do. And no one single resource can control that or have control over you. Which leads us to cryptocurrency, which is hand in hand with the blockchain. Cryptocurrency is a good way of proving out a blockchain and establishing the integrity of the data and the data holders. If you prove out the blockchain, you get a reward for doing that. The reward for doing that is either coins or tokens, which have an associated value with them, and therefore you have cryptocurrencies, where every transaction can be identified, every transaction can be seen. But the crypto part of it is that the individual and the person who make those transactions can remain anonymous, unless the people of the majority of the blockchain wish to decryptify that entry and find out who was doing it. So again, it's a large scale proposition rather than an individual control proposition, but transparency and end-to-end operation is clear and open. So cryptocurrency, people say, I don't understand cryptocurrency, it's too complicated, it's too difficult. But if you've been using a credit card during the last 30 years, you're already au fait with a cryptocurrency. Visa is a cryptocurrency, MasterCard is a cryptocurrency, Discover is a cryptocurrency. Because not at any point during any of those transactions do you ever actually touch real money. You go to a retailer, you buy a product, that retailer runs your data either on a chip or a magnetic strip to a computer, which indexes you and says, yes, this person has the amount of credit available to buy that. Once they buy that, then the credit card company is in touch with your bank, and the bank knows that you have been spending this money. You authorize money to remove from your account to their account. You are shifting data from one register to another register with an agreed set of parameters. That's exactly what cryptocurrency does. So the whole principle of cryptocurrency seems alien because, it's not a real currency, but fiat currency is also not a real currency. A dollar is only a representation of an amount of gold. A pound is only a representation of an amount of gold. It's an arbitrary item that is vested with value because the people agree that it has that value. The same thing for cryptocurrency. So now we talk about more the content and the entertainment and the exploration of lots of different avenues with virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed reality. So the three realities, commonly known as VR, AR and XR. Virtual reality is an immersive 3D virtual landscape. It's something that exists in time and space on a computer system, but not in the real world. It's virtual. However, the virtual world can mirror the real world one-to-one perfectly. We like to call it IRL to URL. So that's in real life to the computer. The difference between the two is that one, you can do anything you like and imagine anything you like. The other is reality. There's a place for both. But also we can create new worlds, new landscapes. I can have a meeting with you at this table, or I can have a meeting with you over Zoom, or we can put a headset on and have a meeting sitting on rocks on Mars. Everything is possible, everything is open. The way it's portrayed in movies and TV is not quite the way it really works in reality, but VR offers a lot of opportunities. You can have an avatar. You never have to look like yourself. You can look like a giant tiger crossed with a dinosaur that speaks 4 different languages. Entirely possible in virtual reality. A little bit more difficult in the real world. So VR offers huge amounts of potential and possibility from entertainment, from education, from interaction, from meetings to socializing, to every single aspect of your life can be touched by it. And it's not just a headset, and we'll get to that in a moment when we talk more about digital self and the platform and what it can do. But everybody thinks, oh, it's a set of goggles that sit on your head and stuff. It's not. It's a lot more than that. So augmented reality is an overlay on the real world. So you can see the real world around you, but the computer overlays information and data on top of it. Kind of like a Google Maps when you're really looking at where you're actually going. Lots of fun, lots of opportunities, lots of information, especially for travel, education, information. You know, you could have an augmented reality scene in your bank, as well as you could have an augmented reality scene while you're sitting on a plane going to a destination, as well as you could have an augmented reality scene while you're watching a movie. Then we also need to think about some more of the esoteric things in Web3 that maybe don't immediately occur to people. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has become huge news just recently with ChatGPT and everybody going crazy over, oh wow, it's becoming sentient, the internet's going to take over. Everything that everyone's been afraid of forever. Artificial intelligence doesn't work like that. It works on a known database and knowledge, and it grows and evolves. So AI is an important component. We won't be following our giant robot overlords anytime soon, but artificial intelligence can bring a huge wealth of benefits to people, and to give you information that you would never normally have access to. It's Google on steroids. You don't have to search for the information. It will tailor it to your needs, and you can make specific requests. And that's what people are not seeing. It's not replacing menial jobs. It's actually creating whole new industries, and it's vibrant, and it's coming quickly. You're not going to be able to stop it. So then we can talk about the semantic web, which is, you know, already in use now. If you have Alexa, or if you have Hello Google, if you have OK Google, or if you have Siri, you're already using it. You're using voice commands. Well, voice commands that can understand you and interpret you and provide that feedback to you on an auditory level. Text to speech, speech to text. Everything is evolving at a huge rate, which again involves artificial intelligence. But that natural language of the interactive world is rapidly approaching. And it doesn't have to be where people are profiling you and gathering information and eavesdropping on you, because if you apply the blockchain and you apply all the security that goes with it and the transparency that goes with it, they can no longer data mine you on the sly, which is what you could do in Web 2.0, but you won't be able to do in Web 3.0 because you'll be in charge of your own data. So if you start to look at these things, and I'm talking about decentralization and tokenomics and a personalized worldview, and that's really the important part of it. The personalized worldview is really where all of that technology marries itself together in Web 3.0 and provides an interface with you to a digital and connected and complex world that becomes much more curated and much more simplified and much more enjoyable for you, much more meaningful to you. So if we take that as Web 3.0 and we look at that in and of itself, where does digital self come into this? So digital self principally works with all of the vertical silos that I've just discussed now. So each and every one of those items that I just listed off and that we just talked about for Web 3.0, all of them have a connectivity to digital self, because the representation of you in that personalized worldview is your digital self. So digital self will work with blockchain and is based on a blockchain and connects with other blockchains, and will work with cryptocurrency, tokens, fiat, real world, credit cards, any monetary system you like. The back-end accounting system will work with it, because those are all functional methods of currency within that Web3 worldview, that next generation. Then you've got to look at the virtual reality side of things, which, you know, there's going to be a huge amount of VR out there and VR generated items, and there's so many things to look at and so many things to see. It's like Netflix, right? You know, I want to watch Netflix tonight. Well, you spend the first 45 minutes of any Netflix watching session choosing what you're going to watch on Netflix. So having something that can like sort out that morass for you and deliver things that are more immediate for you is enormously valuable. It's kind of like a guide or a Sherpa. That curated aspect of it really helps a lot. So digital self is there to simplify the choices, to make them match what you like and what your needs are, because it learns about you as you grow and use the system. So I think that the simplification of things that are very, very complex is also a huge part of all of this. And then augmented reality, digital self goes with you. It's platform agnostic. So platform as in a device. So if you think of it being on your smartphone, or being on your tablet, or being on your laptop, or being on your desktop at home, or being on your smart TV, the premium flagship experience is always going to be the virtual reality headset, but not necessary. People like to interact with different forms of entertainment and different forms of information in different ways. You might be a person who is glued to your phone and likes to sit there and doom scroll for an hour at a time. You might want to catch up with your friends on Instagram, or the next version of Instagram, which will be a lot more interesting. And these things kind of come together so that digital self can be served up at any time on any device. You can be out, you can be in your car looking at it on Apple Play in your car, then you can come home and you can be scrolling through your phone and then pick up your tablet because you want it on a bigger device, and then you can throw it from your tablet to your smart TV, and then you're enjoying it so much in your smart TV, you're like, hey, I don't want to just watch this, I want to be in this. So then you can put the headset on and move into the scene. You know, that's the vision, right? Everything works with everything. And your tablet or your phone doesn't have to be just a static 2D device. We live in a 3D automated virtual world. You can hold those devices up as a window on that world. It's something that doesn't really occur to people, but you don't need a headset being right in the center of it all. You can put up a device and just use it as a window on that world, or a large device and use it as a window on that world. There's lots of ways of doing this, lots of ways of interacting, lots of ways of presenting, and that comes down to a multitude of choices, and that comes down to what your preferences are as your digital self. So an end-to-end platform plays nicely in the sandpit. It works with any piece of hardware that is connected and joins with the system. It works with any piece of content because it doesn't matter what format it's delivered in, and it can translate those formats into other formats so they can be enjoyed and consumed in different ways. It has an accountancy system, it has a back-end system, it has a control system, it has a content management system. It has different layers that work within it. So all of those together as a combined platform. We use the term platform because that's coming from Web 2.0 with things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. These are all platforms. They do one thing very well, and then a lot of other things that are associated with that, and then a lot of other things that are associated with that. So it's an all-encompassing system that works with you and is tailored to your individual worldview. Now, we can talk about 360 video, which is a phenomenal item and something that's kind of the real pinnacle of how you can look at what is happening in Web3. 360 video is a full high definition recording of any event with a bispherical camera, but your point of view is that camera, and you can look around entirely in that 3D world. It's all around you, projected on a sphere to give the impression that you are in that position in the real world where that video footage was shot. So now if you think about this in terms of a concert, or you think about this in terms of a soccer match, or if you think about this in terms of a cricket game, or a rugby game, or a boxing match, or any live event, right? It could be an award ceremony, it could be a convention. Any of these things can be captured in real time, in video, and replayed in a headset. They can be transmitted to you in real time. It's like a teleportation device. So the aspects of this are huge and just ever increasing. You know, any single thing where a group of people interact, a music festival, international auto show, going on a cruise, vacation, skiing, whatever it is, those events, those things can be recorded and replayed, or recorded and transmitted, or can be streamed live. So the multitude of different things that start to arise here, you are looking at exponential usage of information, content, data, distribution of that, and how many people can enjoy it. And not all of us can climb Everest, but with digital self, yes, we can. And we don't have to end up in a crevice in a horrible situation or something. We can actually ascend to the top of Everest. So, but I mean, these are extreme examples. I mean, you know, when we talk about the day-to-day, the everyday, the level of interaction and entertainment that this brings is quite phenomenal and extraordinary. And so we see digital self as the future of where we can go with Web3, but making sense of it all. And an illustration of this is there are two images. One is heavily pixelated, very dense, very complex, juggled up, doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. The other image is a desertscape and a landscape that you can see a tree and you can see the sky and you can see where the earth is, and it makes a lot more sense because you see what that is. But those two images are exactly the same. One is the chaos of Web3, full blast, like trying to drink from a fire hydrant where you really don't know what's coming at you or how quickly it's coming at you. The other is a curated worldview that puts everything in order, puts everything in perspective, and shows the world as you would like it, as your digital self. And so I think that's the best illustration of the curated worldview, the overarching taking care of you, showing things as you are, showing things as they should be, showing things as you want them, but not limiting your access to anything. Everything is possible, everything is open, everything is connected. And so that's the vision of digital self.